Hi, welcome to the Augmentation of Man with Kent and Renee Miller. And
we have a short clip today, but it's relevant to what's happening.
So we're back at talking about truth. I have to say that our guides, the ancients, have spent a lot of time teaching about truth and how to decipher truth.
Well, evidently it's important to them.
It's a very important topic.
In universal society.
And with these events that are going on today, we can really see why they spent so much time discussing this topic with us.
I like the first thing, that lies become truth and truth become lies.
And that's kind of where we're at right now. And we've been watching a lot of different media sources, gathering our information, trying to do our research, and then going to our guides to ask for clarity.
Well,
and there is a lot of misperception out there.
There's an old phrase, you tell a lie long enough and as many times as you can, pretty soon people will believe it to be truth.
Yeah. And there's a lot of agendas going on right now.
So the question is, with everything that's going on, truth is in the now, it's not in the future. And how do we explain that?
So even when we get predictions, they will give us prognostications, predictions about future events. Those are based on current energy pathways and probability and statistics.
Well,
they're projecting a future event based on current pathway and the way the energy is going at the current moment. We do have the ability to change that.
Okay, with truth is what, and I've said this before, the actual truth of an event is when the event happens. And the holder of the event has the truth. And so you say, well, look at the conflicting information that's coming out now. I mean, 18 months, we're going to be in shutdown. We're going to be shut down till the end of April. We're going to be shut down till June. That's just one very small aspect of this whole thing. And people are saying, well, what is the truth here? Now they're saying you can reacquire the COVID-19 even after you've had it once. But first time we heard it is you're immune once you've had it. So truth is very hard to obtain right now until you get all your facts and you see what happens with these facts. That's when the real truth comes out.
So truth evolves as we are collecting our information and our data and doing our research. So what we understand today is only based on the information that we are holding at the current moment. Mm-hmm. And as we continue to gather our facts, or, sometimes we don't even know it's facts at the moment. Yeah. But as we continue to gather information, we are adding to our understanding, and then the truth evolves.
Well, the truth is kind of a map of what's behind us, a map of the past. So in order, a lot of times, to obtain the real truth, you have to actually go through the event, which can be very painful. Go through the coronavirus and see if you are able to redevelop it a second time after you've gone through the first time. Now there's many subtitles to this, but we won't know what really happens till this whole thing plays out to the end.
And there's a lot of studies going on right now to try and figure out what is going on with this particular virus, because it acts in ways that are very different than how we have witnessed viruses to act in the past.
Yeah, once you take the the SARS virus, what was that, 2000 and whatever, 11 or
2013.
Yeah,
I don't remember the
you
exact
take that,
date.
and then you take what's happened to China the last couple of months, what's happened to Italy. So you're trying to put together all these different data from the past to predict the future. And the predictions are only what could be. It's only a single path. There are many paths to predictions.
Yes, and so oftentimes what we're doing is we're taking our experiences from the past and using that to predict the future truth that is evolving out of the current event. And so as far as this current coronavirus event, do the experiences, what we have witnessed in previous similar viral outbreaks, do they apply to this particular one? And if they don't, why not? Why is this one acting and behaving so differently in many ways to other SARS and coronaviruses of the past?
Yeah, when you try to look at that, truth has a fleeting event, and it has a fleeting value at this particular time. So as time continues and passes, the value of the truth changes with each moment. And that I know that's hard to figure out, but it changes with the data. As you get more and more data, then your truth, which you had this morning, may change by this afternoon.
Now, keep in mind that truth is based on our perception. This is huge. This is based on, our perception is based on our environmental background. What does that mean?
Yeah, and look what they're using.
What does that mean?
If you
environmental background.
Right, your environmental background, if you had medical issues in the past, and you might still be dealing with it, or you might not, but your past medical conditions could have affected your immune system, where you feel good now, but your immune system is depressed.
And that is true. But what I was trying to get at was our perception is based on our environmental background, meaning how we were raised, how we were taught, what science has contributed to our thought process, our experiences. All of these add to the way that we perceive our world and what we think, how it operates.
And each person perceives an event differently. We do not all perceive the same event the same way.
We're each very unique in the way that we see things, and that is based on our
everybody's perception is different.
Our perception. But see, even within a family, you can have children that are all raised in the same household with the same parents, under the same conditions, experiencing the same events, but they each
have
see
a different
things
perception of that event
differently. And a lot of that is based on their attuned vibration at birth. And so that sets the stage for what events play out or open up to them, what energy pathways open up to them, and how they react to it. And as we go through all these events, it magnifies our vibration and how we see things.
Yeah, what would be interesting is taking these small children, and as they get a little older, ask them their perception of what they felt like and what they saw going through this corona 19 outbreak, this event, and to see the different perceptions of the way they saw it, which is could be a very interesting study on how they see future events of the same type of magnitude.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of that's going to be how they witness events playing out around them and how adults are reacting to it.
Yeah.
So it's important, I think, in this vein of thought, to make sure that we're not overreacting it and portraying or exhibiting our own fears in front of our children, so that they are not taking all that fear in and using it, in a harmful way as far as the way that they perceive their world.
Okay, as we go through this event of coronavirus 19, COVID-19, is our understanding of ourselves. As we begin to understand ourselves, we determine the value of our truth. As we begin to understand ourselves, how will our children look at us, whether they're real young or middle in their 20s or teens or 30s, how they look at us is going to determine their value of us. It's not going to be the same.
So explain that a little further.
Well, as we understand who we are in ourselves and begin to come down with, oh, I think now this is the truth that I believe. You relay that somehow to your children if you're able to talk to them on the phone or wherever, on Skype or whatever. When they hear you speak, I have figured out the truth of who I am or what I believe. How will that affect their truth about you? The way that they have
how they perceive you.
It always been. Yeah.
But really, we shouldn't base our decisions on on what we feel other people are going to think about us.
No.
It should be that
just come from
we
what
are
we feel.
guided from within to search for our own truth. And it's not based on our concerns about what other people might think about us.
Yeah, because our truth will change as the event changes and as we gather data about the event that we're in, such as isolating ourselves at home and the different things that we have to do. We're beginning to understand maybe who we are.
Yeah, and particularly when we are isolated and we are slowed down, we are bored, how do we utilize that time to our advantage? And so spiritually speaking, we can use that time to do our research, to gather information, to expand our conscious evolution, but also we can turn inward and get to know ourselves a little better, listen to that inner voice, and also kind of attune ourselves to our gut feelings about things. So we can look at a situation, maybe we are confused about the event or about a particular person who's presenting information. How does that make you feel within the gut feeling? And that oftentimes gives us a lot of truth. It's not something to be ignored.
Well, as we've been told in meditation, there's only one group that actually can see and hear the truth from the Creator, and that's the ancients.
Right. So the rest,
because they deal directly communication with the Creator. We don't.
Yes. The rest of the universe also has varying degrees of perception and how they view truth. Mm-hmm. Although humans are really at the bottom of that scale of truth seekers. That's why we're so confused today. That's why there's so many misperceptions, and it's very hard to find the truth in today's environment.
You have, as you've heard us say this before, you have to do your own research and narrow down what you think possibly the truth is. You do a lot of research, and a lot of it's conflicting. with what's going on.
Yeah.
But you have to determine yourself how you feel about what this person's saying or what that person is saying, and whether they're being truthful or not being truthful. Because you can't back away from misunderstanding. The world inoculates us to misunderstanding. You back away from that, get in your own mind and your own research, and look at the things that are logical, not absurd.
Right. And so when we're talking about finding truth, and in this particular event, we're using the coronavirus event as an example of how to find truth. You want to research who it is that is giving you the information, what is their background,
Why are they giving you that information?
what affiliations that they have, but also when we see something that is really absurd, to call it as such. We need to be able to find the logical connections, to be able to connect the dots so that we form a larger picture of one thing that supports another, or one claim, one piece of information that also supports other pieces of information, so that we can form a logical parameter of connecting dots to see that bigger picture of what is happening now.
Yeah, and you've heard the old term, you are about those that surround you. In other words, all your friends, you become what they want you to be. And you see that in many, many generations of people who surround themselves with people, criminal types or not criminal types. They become whatever they're surrounded by. So you have to face who you are and why you're here. And you have to face it straight out and call it for what it is. Okay, you have to stand up for who you are, why you're here, and say, okay, this is what I think. And if somebody can show you something in absolute that you're wrong in this particular aspect of what you believe, well, listen to them. You don't have to totally believe, but listen to them. The more information you take in, the more understanding you will obtain, and the more of the self you will understand.
One other thing I want to add is social discourse. And in today's environment, free speech is really being shut down to a large degree. And we're very polarized. We don't want to listen to other people. And that does not serve our expanding consciousness. So as we are finding our truths, it does help to be able to have a circle of friends and acquaintances whom you
keep in contact with on the phone or on the computers.
Right. And once we get past this period of time of isolation, where we can gather and we can have discussions about these things where we are trying to piece together what the truth is, whatever the topic is.
It's going to take all of us to piece the truth of this whole thing together. I mean, you go back to 1917, 18, the Spanish flu. See how long that lasted. What was the truth of that? We can get the truth of that now, the truth of the past. And we can say, okay, can we apply this possibly to what's happening now?
Mm-hmm. But we have to be able to listen to other people.
Yes.
And even if we don't agree with them, to pay them the respect of being able to talk.
Yeah, and have a discussion why you believe with that person, right, and tell you why you believe that you believe, because you did research and you can show them. So we can all learn from each other. Do not be afraid to call out the learning process that is that has shown its head here, which we can all grab onto.
Okay. So thank you for joining us today. I do want to invite you to check out our books that we have published at the request of our guides, the ancients, under the Augmentation of Man, a Study in Renaissance, and the Acquiescence of Humanity. It is full of a lot of good information, and it will significantly expand the way that you see things and your understanding of this world and your whole purpose for being here.
Non-political. It's straightforward, just
Right.
non-political. So if you want to learn how to become neutral and see the whole forest, I recommend those books.
They're available on Amazon. And then you can check out our website, verdience.com. There's a blog on that, and there's more information. This a Study in Renaissance had a first edition that did not have as much interpretation in it. It was cumbersome for a lot of people. So we did a blog to help explain some of the translations that we as we understood it. But now they're included in the newest second edition of the book. And so if you have the first edition, check out our website for interpretations.
Excellent. And we also on anchor.fm, the podcast, in case you can't bring up the videos.
And that's the Augmentation of Man.
Yeah.
We did notice that when we first came out with the podcast, there was a lot of people gravitating to that, and we were almost going to give up the YouTubes. And then since this coronavirus happened, we've seen an inverse of that, in that more people are watching the YouTubes because they're probably at home.
We're all sitting at home.
and less people listening to the podcast, but we're going to continue with both. Thank you for joining us. And as always, peace be with you on your journey to enlightenment. Have a good day now. Bye-bye.